Hi everyone, and welcome to episode 56 of Not the Worsted Knitting podcast. My name is Michelle, and I am the knitter and knitwear designer behind meeshyfrazz Knits. In today's episode, I've got a few works in progress for you. Not a ton of updates, but a few new things, and then I do have some updates at the end about some upcoming important dates. So I don't think this will be a super long episode, but there are some fun things to chat about, and especially stick around till the end if you are interested in any of the pattern releases, test calls, or if you're going to flock. So why don't we go ahead and jump right in. We can talk about what I am wearing. I am wearing my Everyday Attitude tee by Susanne Sommer. This is a top that I actually knit up around this time last year. I knit this up using a bunch of scrap yarn that I had left over. I used Blue Sky Fibers Metalico in several different colors. The original design is only meant to have 2 stripes, so 2 different colors throughout. But because I had so much of this yarn left over from my Nantucket wrap that I designed, I really wanted to use everything, and so I did this multi-striped version. I made some modifications, which I believe I left notes for on my Ravelry page. Also, if you can see, the cats are wrestling sort of out of frame, so you might see them. They're a little bit playful right now. But anyway, so yeah, this is basically using a bunch of scraps of Blue Sky Fibers Metalico. I have the colors listed on my Ravelry project page, and the yarn composition is actually 50% silk, 50% alpaca, so it's incredibly drapey. It is a little bit heavy, so it does add a little bit of weight to it, but I actually think this is nice for cooler summer days or like leaning into the seasons of fall or spring. I do get a lot of wear out of this, just maybe not on the hottest days. Today is not terribly hot out. I think it's in the 70s. But I'm inside where it's cool, so I felt okay wearing this. But yeah, I really love this top. It's got some really cool details, especially the slip stitch detail on the side. I've talked about this a whole bunch before. The chevron effect that you get on the shoulders, it's a really cool construction to get that. And then the simplicity of what you have to do to get this nice rolled hem on the edges. It's very easy. It looks much more difficult than it is, so I definitely recommend this pattern. It's just a really fun t-shirt to wear, and if you're only doing 2 colors, it would be even easier. I had to think a little bit more because I added multiple colors just on how to divide up the front and back to make sure once you join in the round, all the colors were the same throughout. But it really wasn't that difficult. It's just adding a few more rows in the back, which it turned out I really needed anyway to give myself the armhole depth that I actually wanted. So that is what I'm wearing today on this lovely summer day. We are at the end of July. Actually, when this video airs, it will technically be August 1st, but yeah, we're just coming up on the end of July. We celebrated Thomas's birthday, which was super fun. So we've had a little bit of time off to we sort of did like a staycation, a couple of days of taking it easy, a couple of days of going out and doing some hiking. Always a good time this time of year. So I've gotten a little bit of knitting time, but not as much as I was expecting. So we can go ahead and chat about my works in progress now. And I guess what I'll do is I'll start with newest to, well, actually that's not super accurate. I guess sort of newest to oldest, mostly in what will be a surprise versus what won't, I guess. I don't know. So because it was Thomas's birthday, I asked him if there were any particular socks that he wanted. He does love to wear knitted socks, and we try to wear matching socks a lot when we can, just because I've made so many versions. And I typically make a version for him to test the size. And so my husband, he's really big into, it's called Warhammer, which is a tabletop strategy game. It's like a tabletop tactics sort of game, and you have these mini figurines that you build and paint, and then you play against other people. And so he really enjoys that as a hobby, and he's been talking about how he'd love some Warhammer socks. And so I've been telling him, I'm like, just send me a motif. I don't really know. There's a whole lot that is involved in that. So just send me a motif that you like and I'll turn it into a sock. And so ultimately he was like, honestly, just do the hammer. Just do like a really big hammer. That would be really cool on the cuff. And he really enjoyed the pizza socks that I did for him, and so he kind of wanted that exact same style, to where there's a design on the cuff, and then we would just do broken rib on the foot. So that is my first project that I have to show for today. It is not finished, and you can see where I've put in the marker for the heel, but this is going to be a pair of Warhammer socks for him. So I basically just took that main hammer and I charted it and just did half and half. And so that will be on the cuff. And then hopefully you can see there's some broken rib that will go all the way down the foot. And then on the toe, I'll have another fun little motif, like a sort of like a starburst effect, but not quite. And I'll probably do a gold toe for that. So this was sort of an on the whim sort of surprise project. Wasn't expecting to cast on, but it's something I've been working on and off the last few days. So the yarn I am using, fortunately this is all yarn I had in stash. I do have a decent amount of sock stash yarn just because I love colorwork socks. So the main color is, it's Cascade Heritage sock, which is a 75-25 merino nylon blend, superwash merino nylon. And I think this color is indigo. And then the contrast color, which is the hammer, this is in Knit Pick Stroll in this color Poppy Fields, which is kind of like a tonal gold. And these were the colors that he picked out, just very traditional like Warhammer colors. So that is my progress on that. I've been working a little bit slowly on it here and there. Of course, his birthday already happened, so he won't be getting these on his birthday, but it's something I'm knitting for his birthday that he will get whenever I finish them. He's not in a rush, and also it's pretty warm, so it's okay if it's gonna be a little bit before he gets these, but this is work in progress number 1. All right, so work in progress number 2, you saw me talk about this last week. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten nearly as much done as I would have liked, so it is my Wildflower Bloom socks that I'm working on for So Happy Jane. This was already finished in my last video, so this won't be a surprise to you. I have worked on the second sock, but it is just barely. So you can see I've done like 5 rows of the color work chart. So it's not much, it's really not much to write home about just yet, but I will be finishing this soon. I really need to hustle on this because we will be showing these at Flock. These will be at Heather of So Happy Jane's booth, which means I have like a week to knit these up. So I really need to get going on this. But this won't take me long. Honestly, this sock knit up really fast. I decided actually with this sock, especially because they're for me and I'm wearing them and I'm not super concerned about floats. I actually did not catch my floats on this. And by not catching my floats, it knit up so fast. It slows me down so much when I catch my floats, and I'll do it depending on if it needs to happen, like if there are really long breaks in between the floats, or if it's for somebody else where, you know, it's a sock and I'm worried about them getting their toes caught, then I'll catch floats. But for me, I'm okay with not. And actually, when I don't catch my floats, because I'm comfortable enough with my tension, I actually feel like it gives me a much stretchier sock. So that's just kind of a thing that I've implemented for my own socks, is really just not catching the floats. So because of that, that means that this knits up very quickly. So I'm hoping that in the next few days this will be done, and then I can go ahead and get this blocking so that I can hand these off to Heather and she will have them at her booth. And that is because I am using So Happy Jane yarn. The main color is Sage Advice. This is, the base is Joyful Fingering. And then the contrast color is Pistachio Cream. And these are beautiful colors. The Pistachio Cream, I just love all the speckles in there. And then the Sage Advice, very subtle tonal greens in there. So show this again so you can kind of see. It's very subtle, but it's very beautiful. I really love this combination together. It's like a very soft garden. So I really love this. And it's great too, because this was yarn that I bought at Flock last year. And so I'm really happy to be using it just in time for Flock this year. So that is work in progress number 2. And then last but not least, we have work in progress number 3, which is also new. And that is my second sample of my Misty Pines sweater. So if you've been watching my previous episodes, then you have followed along in my Misty Pines saga. This is a design that I have come up with. So the motif I've used previously in my Misty Pines beanie and my Misty Pines mitts, and I really wanted to do a sweater version. And so I've done 2 chart options, one with the traditional chart where it's exactly 2 size, which means that the motif will be quite small and it'll just be running at the bottom of the sweater, which is what I'm doing for this one. And then the large motif, which is just taking that same motif and bringing it up 2 times scale. And that is the version that I finished recently. Now, it's not totally finished because I still have 2 different sleeves on it. I actually haven't swapped out the tapered sleeve yet. I wanted to do a large motif version of the balloon sleeve and then a small motif version with the tapered sleeve. And that was really to test out the taper, test out the pattern, make sure I liked how the sleeves fit and looked, and also so I could show you guys what the sleeves would look like, just in case this isn't fully finished by the time I do the testing call. So this pattern is now officially with my tech editor. I sent the pattern over to her just a couple of days ago. So I'm hoping she'll probably take a look at it within the next few days, just depending on her availability. And depending on how many changes we do, I'm hoping that this will be available to test in the next couple of weeks. That's what I'm really hoping for. So the way that this pattern starts is you begin with the back panel, you cast on all the stitches you need, and then you work short rows. So you cast on everything, but then you put a lot of stitches on either side on hold. You start on the back neck, and then you slowly work short rows to work in the rest of the stitches while shaping the shoulders. And then from there, you actually pick up stitches on each shoulder. So you can see I've picked up the stitches on the left and the right shoulders. And then you work the shoulders a little bit and do any increases for the neckline shaping. And then you eventually, if I can hold this properly, eventually you will join the left and right front shoulders together, and that builds out the front yoke. And so I am just knitting a few more rows on this front to achieve the length that I need for my armhole depth, and then I will be joining everything in the round. There is also a little bit of underarm shaping that's done, as well as you do cast on some stitches at the underarm. So it's not a true basic drop shoulder in that way. It's definitely a modified drop shoulder because there are several different areas of shaping that are done to achieve a better fit, and so everybody has a very similar drop on their shoulder. So this is working up quite nicely. It's worsted weight, so this is knit in Blue Sky Fibers Woolstok worsted, and this is in the colors from their neutral bundle. As you can see, I'm just working on the Highland fleece version so far, which is the white, and because this is a small motif, I'll probably be working until about here before the motif actually begins. The motif isn't very tall with the small motif, and I will just be doing the motif a single time. It is really fun though. I've had many comments from you guys about all different things that you would try. I've had a few people say that what they would do is actually repeat the smaller motif a few times in a row, which you could totally do. I want to do just the one so you can see it that way, but I think with all of the options at play with this design, I could see myself knitting a few of these. So I love the color palette on this, and I'll pop up a photo of my other one so you can see. It's a really nice group of grays and beigey browns, which are completely out of my typical comfort zone for colors. I don't typically do a whole lot of neutrals, but I do love that color palette for this design in particular. That bundle is what inspired this design, so that's where it kind of all started from. But I really want to see a version that's using grays and greens, just because that might be a little bit more of a literal translation, especially if you're doing the very pale grays for the mist and then the greens for the trees. Obviously the trees take on both tones because it's meant to be the mist kind of carrying over the trees and hiding them a little bit as they kind of fade out. So really excited to see what this would look like in different colors. And I think that this will be a design that people can really modify and play with just depending on what they want out of it. So I'm looking forward to putting this one into testing because I'm hoping that I'm gonna have some testers that do try some different things. Obviously that's never a requirement. I'm never expecting a test knitter to come up with their own ideas and do something different. Like all I want them to do is knit the pattern, let me know if it's an enjoyable knit, let me know if there are any things that they found difficult or tricky or confusing. It's already going through tech editing, so my hope is that the bulk of the editing is actually already taken care of and it should be in pretty great shape. Really, the knitting experience for my test knitters is just to make sure that they like it. I'm never worried about it being 100% matching mine because I do want people to make modifications so it fits their body well, but I want to make sure that they can use my pattern and the part of the pattern to achieve that same look, that same fit, that there are no weird fit issues and that they don't have to do crazy modifications to get it to fit them. So long story short, that means that I'm really looking forward to getting this into testing just to see what people do with it. And then of course, really hoping that I can get this design out in October, just so you're kind of hitting it at the beginning of fall. This feels very fall winter to me. So that's just what I'm hoping for, is to get that out right in the heart of that season. So stay tuned if you are interested in testing for this pattern. The first place I will put out the notifications will be my newsletter. So if you are interested in testing, definitely sign up for my newsletter. I've got the link for that below. That'll be the first place, and then I will also put up a test call on my Instagram. I might announce it on here, but it just depends on when that test call is ready to go. Just because, you know, I only put these out on Fridays. I don't do every week, and so there's always a chance that the test call might come out not in line with this video. So newsletter and my Instagram are definitely the first place to go for those sorts of announcements. But this is moving quickly. I just cast this on like 2 days ago and I've just worked on it a little bit here and there. So you can see it's a very quick knit. This is the one really nice thing about working in worsted weight. And I think Woolstok worsted is a really nice worsted weight because it blooms really beautifully. And so the stitches kind of get a little bit fuzzy. So you lose a little bit of that stitch definition, which I like in worsted weight and larger gauge garments because, I don't know, I just like it when it softens that look so you're not seeing these huge stitches. And so it just, you're reading it as an overall sweater and not like, wow, those are huge stitches on a sweater. So I think this is just a really nice yarn to use with this. So I'm really excited about the progress on this. Stay tuned. I do need to put this on hold for a little bit though to work on my Wildflower Bloom sock. So we'll see how much progress I get done. That is it for my works in progress. Like I said, it's a pretty quick one this week because, you know, a couple of my works in progress are just socks. So there's not a whole lot to say about that, but I am getting really excited for a couple of things coming up soon. The first of which is my release of my Fidalgo cardigan pattern. So that has been in testing for the last several weeks and we are coming to a close. Testing is going to be wrapping up super soon and everything's in great shape. Most of my testers have already finished and it's looking really great. It's fitting really well. I love all of the different yarns my testers have used. A lot of my testers used the So Happy Jane yarn, which is what I use in this. And it's great because So Happy Jane actually has a couple of different yarn options for this that we're recommending. Just because I used a tweedy yarn and the base of the yarn, it's a very, very subtle tweed, so you can only use a handful of colors with it. And I know not everybody likes to have tweed in their yarn. A lot of people prefer solid colors, and she's got a very beautiful solid base that she will be using that she will have, you'll be able to see at Flock. So there are a couple of base options from her that you can use to achieve this. And she's going to have several samples at her booth. So if you are going to Flock, definitely check out her booth. She will have my sample. She will also have Wendy of Warm Stripes sample. She's very Warm Stripes on Instagram. She did the same base, but she did the undyed version. And then Heather, I believe her version will also be there, and hers uses the solid color. And she has done hers in the most beautiful green version. I'm pretty sure I'm going to do a version in that green because it's stunning. So we will have all the photos and all of that coming up soon. This will be released August 7th, which is Thursday. So it will be released everywhere. It's not exclusive to Flock. You can get it wherever you are. But I'm purposely releasing this on the Thursday before Flock so that you've got a little bit of time to get an idea of what you might need in terms of yardage, so you can kind of prepare for going to Flock. Or I know there are a few other yarn festivals actually happening at the same time this upcoming weekend. So it's a good time for you to take a look, figure out what yarn you might want, and then you can potentially get that yarn at the festival. So one other thing that's really cool is this was kind of a three-way collaboration. I really love this actually because it was like 3 women-owned small businesses coming together to join forces and collaborate on this project, which is awesome. So obviously it's my design. It is Heather of So Happy Jane's Yarn, and then Wendy of Warm Stripes made these buttons, these beautiful handmade ceramic buttons that she hand-fired, hand-painted. They're stunning. She's done a ton of colors. So those will be available at Flock as well in Heather's booth. She also sells them online on her Etsy shop, so you can get them in either place. I think she might have her Etsy shop on hold right now in preparation for Flock, but when this is all said and done, I know she will probably be selling them again. I will have all of this information up for you next week. So don't worry, you're not going to miss out on anything. If you are interested in getting this pattern and all of the details about that, again, the first place I'm going to chat about this will be on my newsletter. As soon as it's ready, the newsletter will have all of the links, all of the information, all of the announcements that you need to get everything you need for this pattern, regardless of if you will be at Flock or not. So that leads me into my third talking point, which is Flock. So if you are unfamiliar with Flock, Flock is a fiber festival that is held in Seattle at the Downtown Seattle Convention Center. This will be the 3rd year, is that right? Yes. Yeah, this will be the 3rd year. And it's a really fun event. So basically, they've got a couple of floors of the convention center, and they'll have classes running all weekend. So there are classes on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And then the marketplace is Saturday and Sunday. And so there are going to be tons of booths everywhere. Last year when I went, it was amazing and overwhelming all at once. And I mean overwhelming in a good way, just because there is so much to see. And it's hard to kind of focus on one particular thing. And it's just, there's so many beautiful yarns, there's so many beautiful vendors and booths. And it's also just really fun to walk around, say hi to people that maybe you know from Instagram or YouTube, but you haven't actually met before. You're seeing people whose faces you recognize from like an Instagram handle. Like there were people where I'm like, I don't think I know her name, but I definitely know her Instagram handle. And it's also just fun to see what people are wearing because so many people have made projects specifically for this event and are wearing those. So it's just a really good time. It's a great time to be just completely surrounded by people that love the same things that we all love, and, you know, just chat, get photos with people, hang out and knit with some people, and squish some wonderful yarn. There were even some sheep there last year. I'm hoping they will be there again this year because they were so cute. But it's a really fun time. So that is coming up. I think it begins August 8th, if I'm remembering that correctly. And so I know I'd mentioned previously that I would love to have like a little bit of time where we can like meet each other. I guess like a meet and greet. I don't know. It's very informal. But I was thinking about it, and I think what might be fun is on the Saturday, which I believe is August 9th of Flock. I'm thinking that from 2 p.m. to 2:30 p.m., maybe we have like a little meetup over in the steps. So in the convention center, just outside of the marketplace, there are these steps that run all the way down, and they face the glass so you can look out onto like downtown Seattle. And it's really beautiful. And last year, a bunch of people went out there to knit, and you just sit on the steps. I think they've got like cushions and things. And it's just a very casual, low-key spot where you can go relax to get away from the chaos that is the marketplace. So I was thinking that my plan will be from like 2 o'clock to 2 p.m. on that Saturday. I am going to hang out at the steps, probably at the bottom of the steps if I can. I'm just gonna hang out there, take a little break, maybe knit for a little bit. So if you wanted to come and say hi, that would be awesome. We could take pictures, especially like if you end up wearing any of my designs. You don't have to, like, don't feel like you have to do that, but if you are, I would love to get a picture because that would just be really fun. Really, I just want to meet you guys. I just want to say hi. There are a bunch of you that I saw last year, and I think last year there was so much going on and I was so overwhelmed by everything. It wasn't until the event was over that I was thinking, man, I wish that I'd gotten a little bit more time to actually talk with people. In the moment, I get a little bit shell-shocked just because I'm not expecting people to know who I am. Even though like I'm walking around, I'm recognizing people. There's just this idea that I'm just kind of in this little bubble and nobody knows me. And so there's always just that little bit of surprise. And I think I am a little bit introverted. Like when I'm comfortable around people I know, I'm very outspoken, I guess, but I get a little bit shy if I'm around people that I don't know. And so I want to be able to chat with you guys a little bit more. And I feel like if it's in a place where we all know we can meet up at once and just kind of hang out and knit and talk, I think that might be really nice. And it'll just be for a half hour, so nobody needs to worry about like they're missing out on the other events that are going on. I figure from 2 to 2:30 is a good wind down time. It's a little bit after lunch, might be a good time to like take a break. We can look at our purchases together. We can think about what else we might want to get before the event is over for the day. And just a good time to maybe sit and relax and unwind a little bit before just kind of finishing up the evening. So if you are going to be going to Flock, let me know. Let me know if you want to meet up for that. Also, I'm really curious, if you are going to Flock, did you knit anything in particular for this event? Do you have a project that you will be working on specifically for Flock? I'm actually trying to figure out what knitting to bring with me this year. Because I'm not really sure. I mean, in my mind, I'm thinking I'd love to bring my Misty Pines Sweater, but I'm also thinking about all of the yarn involved in that and how bulky that is and everything I'm going to be carrying. So now I'm thinking maybe I should cast on a sock or something. I'm really not sure. So I'd love to know what projects you guys are planning to bring with you. Are you bringing sweaters and tops, or are you just bringing small knits? Do you already have your wardrobe picked out? Do you already have everything knit that you want to wear to Flock? I would just love to know if that's something that you've been thinking about or planning for. And if you are not attending Flock, then I am sorry. I will stop talking about it now. It's just, this is a really exciting event and it's cool that it happens here. If I'm being honest, I get so much FOMO every year from everybody who goes to Rhinebeck and the Maryland Sheep and Wool Festival. So it's nice to have something on our side. So forgive me if I do get a little bit excited, but you know, I think everybody who is in this region is extremely excited about that. And so it is just really fun. But yeah, let me know for sure if there's anything you're planning to bring to Flock or planning to knit for Flock. Have you finished your projects? Are you still frantically working on them? This was supposed to be a knit that I wanted to have finished for Flock last year, and I did not finish. And in fact, I actually brought this with me to Flock. And if I remember correctly, I don't think I worked on it at all. I don't think I knit nearly as much as I thought I would at Flock. Obviously in the downtime after the event I did, but during the event, no, not at all. So yeah, just, it's crazy. We've only got 1 week until Flock, 1 week until the Fidalgo cardigan. So it's all coming up. It's all very exciting. And yeah, I can't wait. So if you are going to Flock, I really hope to see you there. definitely keep an eye out for me, and definitely come to the steps at 2 p.m. on Saturday if you want to do a little meetup. Yeah, that'll be really fun. But that is basically all I've got for you guys this week. It's a quick one, but if you stuck around until now, thank you so much for watching. I so appreciate it. If you would like to get in touch with me, I am meeshyfrazz on Instagram, Ravelry, and Blue Sky. You can email me at meeshyfrazz@gmail.com, and you can find me on my website, which is meeshyfrazzknits.com. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.